Am I wrong for wanting to end a friendship with a friend who is cheap/stiffed me on some money he owes me? I'll try and make this as short as possible while hitting on all major points. My friend, we will call him Dan for this story for this situation. So I have been friends with Dan for about 20 years. In this 20 years our relationship has been great. I always thought he was a stand-up guy, we like similar things, it was good. So about 3 years ago I started getting thoughts that I need to evaluate my friendships. So I've been more critical of everyone in my life and how we interact. Dan and I have watched football together every Sunday for 15 years. Used to go to the bar, but recently I bought the football package and watched the games with my family at my house plus Dan. These last 5 years I've had the package every Sunday. Someone buys food for everyone. Usually it alternates between me, my parents, my brother, and my uncle. Dan has hung with us every Sunday but never once paid for any pizza or offered any cash towards the package, which has only somewhat bothered me. Other people make comments, but I've always defended him. It is, however, now in my head. Fast forward to this past June. I won a poker tournament for $2,000. I invited my friends out to celebrate the next day and he was there with his girlfriend. I bought tons of shots and drinks for everyone. My bill was about $500 and I was treating them, so I didn't care. Now this is where I probably am the asshole, because I shouldn't just be so generous, and I am working on being less giving, especially if it's not reciprocated with appreciation. During this event, however, him and his girlfriend ordered food on my tab without asking. I made them pay because I didn't say they could, they just assumed since I was paying for everyone. So that was awkward and kind of made me upset as well. Over the next few months me and Dan go to several casinos to play poker. All of them are at least 2 hours from our location. Out of the 4 trips I've driven 3 times with him, only offering once. Now this weekend my parents get free rooms at a popular casino on Saturday night. I asked him weeks ago if he wants to come. He strings me along for weeks, not really answering if he wants to or not. I assume he doesn't. Cool. The night before I leave him about to go to bed, he texts asking if he can come. It kinda messed up my plans a little, but I said yeah sure, why not. We get to the casino to play poker. I made it clear to him I had to leave at 3:15 because I had dinner plans with my parents. But if he wanted he could meet up with us later, he's just have to get a cab or an Uber. So I lose all my cash at around 215. He's like, do you want to leave now? I say no, it's cool, you play another hour, I'll go hang out, but we have to leave at 315 if you want to come. He says okay. 315 comes, he texts me that the line is long at the cash window and it's going to be an extra 15 minutes. Okay fine, but I walk over to the poker room, there is no line, he's just sitting there playing. So now I'm a little annoyed. He leaves 335 after telling me not to leave because he's not sure how he will get back to our hotel without me. Is 35 years old, should be able to get a cab or Uber by himself, so whatever, I'm annoyed, still not nuclear pissed. Parking was $5 at this casino and $25 at the one we stayed at. Both times he didn't even attempt to pay. Instead said just pay and let me know how much I owe you at the end. Not only am I annoyed, I'm paying him annoyed because now I'm also in charge of calculating a running tab for this grown man. Fast forward through the trip, I lose more money. He's winning $2,300 on an insane run. I lose $700 not having a good go of it, and maybe it made me less tolerable this time. We're at the bar. My brother and I both buy a bucket of beer for everyone. I bought the first, he bought the second, and Dan agreed he'd buy the third. Well, when it's time to buy another, he says he's actually good and we all drank a lot, just added to his tab. I'm infuriated, but it gets worse. Also, we took an Uber to the bar and back 20 each way. Another thing on his tab. The next day he wants to play poker again and is pushing me to play. I kind of didn't want to, but I was like okay, but we have to Uber again. He says I don't have Uber, can you get us one, I'll pay you back. So this is the third Uber trip on me. I lose again early, so this time I'm like okay, then I'm leaving to hang out with my family and get lunch. He's like okay cool. I leave, he plays later, he texts me, are you ever coming back? I really assume he does this because he's hoping we can go back to our initial hotel together. I explain I'm losing a ton, so I'm not gambling anymore. I told him to take a cab back to our hotel, which to his credit he does. Anyway, now it's time to leave. The parking garage is another $25, I think I mentioned above. He says he can't pay because he only has 100s. Mind you, he won 2,300 and I lost 900. Whatever, I just pay for it. We finally get home. I have driven this man 5 hours. Supplied the room for him. Bought him beer, paid for his Ubers. Before getting out of the car he asks what he owes. All in all he owed me about $100. 30 for gas, 20 for beer, 20 for Ubers, 15 for parking, and 15 for a cover we had to pay. Knowing he only has 100s, I say he owes me 80 mostly because I was interested in how he would react knowing we didn't have change. So I say 80 and he responds, you don't have any cash on you, to which I'm getting annoyed now and I say no. He takes 100 from his stack and says, I guess you'll just owe me 20 then. Now I'm really mad because I feel like after all the driving and free rooms and years of free food on football Sundays, the least he could do is say here's a 100, no big deal. Anyway, he takes the 100 back and says I'll send you the money on Venmo. Well, it's been 2 days and he hasn't sent me any money. I don't feel like I should have to ask for it. He knows he owes me, it's been discussed several times. He has my Venmo. It shouldn't be an issue for him to pay me. He has 2,300 plus the 500 he brought to gamble with. I know he isn't broke. Am I the asshole for now not wanting to be his friend at all? Like it disgusts me that I was ever friends with this person. Clearly, I need to figure some things out myself and be more assertive when someone is clearly taking advantage of me. But should I still be friends with this person?